Welcome to the Scuttlebutt Podcast. There are lots of drinks, there are no rules, and it is a lot of fun. Relax, you are amongst friends.
Hey, and welcome back to Scuttlebutt VR. We take pride in being the least formal virtual reality podcast on the internet today. Today I'm joined, as always, by my co-host Hermes, and for a change, by the lovely Lou from Loucid Co. You want to go ahead and tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, Lou?
Great. Thank you guys for having me. Yeah, my name is Lou. A lot of people call me Lucid. I'm a graphic designer from like the greater New York area, and I'm really into crypto, NFTs, and that whole all the new Web3 technology that's coming out. So yeah, I'm happy to be here, guys.
Awesome. I'm excited to talk about it, and that's really, we're going to be kind of talking about art in general today. I figured was a good theme for the episode, whether it's physical or digital art. Yeah, I know Hermes is kind of like our resident artist here at the podcast, and so he's always ready to talk at length about anything art related, especially the NFTs, which I saw recently you went to. What was it, an NFT NYC event? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was great. On Tuesday and Wednesday, I was in the city both days, pretty much all day. There was a lot of events going on, and there was like the big conference in New York City, and it was amazing. Like there was a lot of people. Bored Ape Yacht Club had their big event. It was like a huge concert. It had like Eminem, Snoop Dogg, like Future. It was insane. I didn't go to that one because you need to be a Bored Ape holder to attend.
That's cool though. Like a lot of people, you know, they say, what's the benefit of holding NFTs? Like that's a pretty big benefit right there.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really what is bringing people into this space is like people want to have that access, and it's very like kind of like exclusive to like only the members, and certain projects have different utility and stuff like that. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. I was gonna. I mean, that's a great point. For utility wise, I was curious. Like how do people find that out, or how do they know about that for that specific NFT? Like for the Bored Ape, was that built into the Bored Ape, or was that just something that came along as the community grew, and they were like, hey, anybody who now owns it and can verify it, now has access to this latest event, or was that always like utility that was built into it?
Yeah, well, different projects do it differently. A lot of times from the start they say, okay, this is what we're gonna work on. If everybody buys an NFT for this project, then you'll get access to X, Y, and Z things.
Right.
And a lot of times, since this is such a new space and things are changing, like some of these NFT projects, just like the Bored Ape, like as they get bigger and bigger, they start adding more and more utility, and they have like bigger concerts or bigger budgets to do whatever they want, really.
Do you know if any of the performers are Bored Ape holders?
Yes. Well, Snoop Dogg was there, and he's definitely like one of the biggest ones. I believe that Eminem has one himself. I would think that Future does. I don't know for a fact. Because yeah, like that project is.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah, it makes me think of like that's an even higher level of like exclusivity. Like it's not just you have to have one to watch the show. You have to have one to even be a part of the show. Like, and that's a whole other level that I'd never even considered before, which is super cool, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the people that were there, like, and seeing like people wearing different like merch from different projects and stuff like that. So a lot of times, like even like the shirts or the hoodies that they drop are like very limited. So are only accessible to the members, or maybe just certain tiers of the member of like any holder that has it.
That makes me also step into like that that FOMO, right? Where when there's a new trend or new technology, there's always that like idea of FOMO, right? Like NFT spheres and spaces certainly, have had a couple of those like hype trains that people have either jumped on or missed. I'm curious though, like, do you see that continuing for all NFTs? Is that just because it's so new, like with Web3 being so new, like you said, the technology is just brand new, that it's still evolving, it's still so flexible. Do you think that a lot of these things are gonna wane in their ability and popularity?
Um, it all depends on what the project's offering. I think there's still a lot of spaces that have like even explored, like as far as NFTs. Like I always use this example of like let's say like Harry Potter. Like if they wanted to make like another movie, like if they get enough fans to buy an NFT for that, then they'll get enough money to finance the movie and finance premiere events and like the merch
Sure,
and like
sure.
all this stuff. Like they can kind of get that budget going
Sure.
beforehand, and they don't need like a big studio or something to sign
Like
off on it.
Kunis and Ashton Kutcher's what was that, Kitten or whatever, that animated thing that they had with the NFTs, where they built the whole, like the community built basically the budget for it and then had the script for it and then had the characters for it. It was all internally supported before it ever dropped and ever became a thing. Kind of
Oh,
like
I,
that,
I
right?
actually didn't hear about that one, but that sounds really interesting.
It looked pretty cool and it was independent stuff, independent artists, independent. So I was like, oh, that's exactly what I would think NFTs would be really useful for. So yeah, just speaking to that, it's already in effect. And VR is another untapped market, as we often talk about.
Oh yeah, totally. Like from just avatar items and stuff. Like Lou, you just saw how complicated it can be to go find an avatar that you feel like actually suits you. If you spend a lot of time in here, you're going to spend probably hours just in that alone. And so it'd be nice if there was actually a centralized place. And then from here, because they're made by other people, there's no sense of ownership. Whoever made this skin could delete it tomorrow. And, I would have to go find another avatar. I wouldn't have a choice. And so I really see how NFTs could be hugely beneficial. And that's like just one very narrow area.
Sure. When it comes to worlds, even like this podcast studio here, and even features, right? Because like we were finding, just to sit down in the sofa here,
No. Don't
find the
encourage
right one
them
with
to
right legs,
charge.
it was the right height and everything.
Don't let them know that you can have sitting DLC. We'll be screwed.
All I'm saying is that there's so many possibilities, and that, I mean, yeah, you can get a free option that works very, it does the job, as we've always talked about, and there's going to be a huge market that does that perfectly fine. But then there's also probably inevitably going to be worlds and games already where you pay for and they work better because they have a better team behind them. They have more, they have more resources behind them. Like we were talking about with a movie or a show or whatever, you can build a budget based on like community support that is already invested in it. And depending on how big and how ambitious the project ends up being, can shape exactly how it turns out. So
that's fair. No, I totally see where you're coming from there, and I think that that's ultimately one of the best uses for NFT and kind of crypto in general, is helping people support the things that they really want to. I know here in America we say all the time that you vote with your dollars, and I think that crypto is becoming an entirely new way to vote for things that really brings it back to those grassroots masses.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, and like another aspect that I haven't seen a lot of yet is like just in VR, like I don't know if you guys saw, like recently, like Fortnite had they're doing like concerts now, like all virtual concerts and stuff like that. So so that's another aspect of like an NFT utility that hasn't really been explored, as having like virtual concerts or virtual events that everybody can meet, like a lot more people can meet up than what they can in real life, and there's no limitations as far as like where you are in the world. So that would be
Yeah, I mean, Theron, you just attended one, right? I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
NFT based, but like it was basically the proof of concept, right?
Sure, yeah, it was a very similar thing. It's actually the last video we uploaded before this one, so go check it out. But yeah, I attended an event at the Tube VR venue that was put on. It was a charity event with live DJs. Thrill Seeker is actually a pretty big YouTuber who was there DJing one of the sets, who's really involved in VR. And it was like a super cool experience. But it also, like, going through the video really brought out the juxtaposition of like how dumb you can look sometimes in reality. Like, I would do it again in a heartbeat, but I also have no shame. That doesn't apply to everybody.
But on that proof of concept though, setting the silliness aside, you could have been completely immersed in there for hours or whatever, at a DJ event, and then there could have been, like you showed, there'd been like a T-shirt with a QR code for a NFT, specific what would you call it, like merch for the VR?
Well, exactly, yeah, just like any other concert merch.
For the VR and
like a skin.
Yeah.
Well, and that's exactly how cool would that have been?
But then also,
because like you said, I'll pop it up on screen, but like you said, I walk up, it's like a shirt on a rack in a store, but digital, and it's like, yeah, how if I could just scan that, here's, whatever, a 1,000th of a Bitcoin, and now I have a T-shirt that just goes onto my guy. That would be amazing. That's an ideal future as far as I'm concerned.
And I would take it a step further. What we've talked about with some of our ambitions that are on the to-do list is a digital representation as well. So if we can sort the logistics of scanning a QR code, like you said, paying a 1,000th of a Bitcoin for the skin, and then maybe 2,000ths of a Bitcoin, or whatever for the physical copy, then you get 2 for 1 at the exact time. Whatever the price is for that, it shows up at your door, and then you're walking around in the real world, or you in that video have your headset on, in your gazebo setup with the shirt you just bought at the last concert for this latest concert.
Absolutely.
We can get as meta as we want, and we can get as matrix as, I like it.
Well, and kind of while we're talking about skins, I think that's a really good segue. Not so much avatar skins, but actual device skins. Loucid, that's where I first kind of discovered your stuff, was you make these really cool decals for the Quest 2, and I know you do a lot of other stuff too. You've just started moving into like Xbox and stuff, but they're hands down the most detailed graphics that I've seen so far. I'm excited. I've got one in the mail right now.
Yeah, I sent you the anti-venom one, which I haven't posted on my website yet, so you're kind of like one of the first people to get it.
Woo! Suck it, rest of the world.
Yeah, so yeah, for like the past year and a half, I've been making these really, like, they're like wraps that completely cover. I did it for the Oculus Quest, which, like, that's been like my best seller so far. And a lot of people like it because the Quest itself is so plain and white, and it looks kind of boring sometimes. So this kind of just adds a little color, a little.
That's what Hermes said when he first saw it. He's like, this looks like a canvas.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like and it definitely adds that personality flair, for speaking to like the awkwardness of that video. It would have just added a little bit of pizzazz if it wasn't just the plain white brick on your face. If it had a little extra person.
That's true. It will soon, and that's a thing you see a lot online. Like a lot of the bigger kind of VTubers will tend to decorate. They'll kind of personalize their headsets. I think it's really funny because it's like you can't see it, right? Like when I'm playing my Xbox, at least I can look over on the shelf and see my Xbox. I have no idea what my Quest 2 looks like right now. I assume it's still the same white brick. But, I mean, who knows? It could transform into something wild the second I put it on my face. And so I think it's really funny that, like you said, it would be your best seller when it's something that is purely aesthetic for everyone else. It gives no real benefit to the person applying it. And that's a super interesting concept to me.
Well, oh, go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, the designs that I make for the people that haven't seen them, they're I try to do something with like that kind of looks like a helmet or something along those lines. So when you actually putting the headset on, it almost looks like you're putting on like a Mandalorian helmet or something like that. That kind of like you kind of get the same kind of vibe.
Yeah, the layout and the theming on yours, they're so good. Like I said, they're honestly not only in terms of like the fit, but just in the design, they're the highest quality skins that I've seen for the Quest 2. So that's that's my personal accolades. You're definitely killing it out there.
Question from artist to artist is where is the template coming from? Obviously, you're using like a digital template for it, or at least I'm assuming. Is that already a bad assumption? Like how does that process go down for it?
Yeah, so there are some templates that I've like purchased from other people that put them on the internet. But a lot of times, once I get it and I do the fitment and everything, a lot of times it doesn't match or it doesn't line up how I want it, or I kind of think of like an easier way for somebody to like put it on or a way to wrap around that it's not too complicated for people to put it on. So
Sure.
for the Oculus one though, I actually did that one from scratch. So my whole process is like I'll grab the device and then I'll just put a piece of vinyl around it. Like it doesn't have to be pretty. And then with a Sharpie or pencil, I'll like kind of draw the outline like once it's like wrapped around it. And then I will take that, scan it, and then I will do it digitally. And it takes about 3 or 4 tries to kind of get it right and adjust some lines and things like that. So I keep like cutting new vinyl and fitting it on, and if I don't like something, I'll make the adjustments. And I'm pretty like a big perfectionist when it comes to that stuff. So if it's not like wrapping around how I want it, I continue working on it until I get it right.
Yeah, that sounds like a tedious process.
When I was seeing it with Theron sent them, I was like, I know the hard work that goes into making such, because like you said, it's the best fitting, it's the best looking, and I was like, I know that was a process. And I was curious, like, what how did that look? And as you're explaining, I was like, yeah, that's the only way I could conceive doing it as well. Like, there's never a one size fits all template out there, especially in like the early days of something. So with like the Quest out there, I'm sure there's a million templates out there, and they all like barely half fit. That's why I've never done it. Like I've never tried it.
The material that I use, it's very high quality, so it kind of allows you to put to put it on and it doesn't stick right away, so you can kind of like move it around, lift it, and put it back down. As long as you don't put like pressure down, like really tight pressure with your thumbs, then it won't stick like fully. But once you do apply pressure, either with a plastic card or you just with your hands, and then it stays on there for a really long time.
Sure. I'm gonna need you to install mine, Theron. I don't trust myself.
Oh no, it's really it's like putting a bunch of decals on a model. It's super meticulous. You'll love it.
Okay, all right.
You'll just go out and you'll be like, oh, everything has to line up beautifully. It'll be great. And I'm excited to really, put it on and not only see how easy it is to put on, because I've seen other videos of people doing it and it looks dead simple, but then also, to test out that durability. Because like Hermes said, I'm in this thing a lot, whether it's going to concerts or hanging out with friends and doing stuff. So I will absolutely be a wear and tear test.
Yeah. Yeah, the vinyl that I use is actually like a 3M vinyl that is the same one that they use to wrap cars and stuff like that. So that vinyl will last outdoors and all weather and dirt and
that's high quality stuff. So. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That's so badass. That is amazing.
And it's really like the best one because I want it to be easy for anybody to be able to put it on. So if I get any cheaper vinyl than that one, then it becomes a lot more difficult, and you kind of have to try a few times to get it right. So I wanted to make sure it was worth it for people.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, you get what you pay for.
100%. Yeah, that speaks 100% to the passion right there, and is like one thing with that again excites me about this whole space and why I love that you were able to convince me and that I was smart enough to listen to you and not be so stubborn when it comes to like VR and
It's
the
a
Web
rare
3
event.
space and NFTs. It is a rare event, but I love it so much because everything that you're seeing here, like we're talking about the avatars, people making these avatars and spending hours and hours making these avatars, or the wraps, or like all these things that are currently like the foundation and getting built up, you can tell people actually give a shit about. So it's exciting to see that it's not like this, mass production, corporatized, one size cookie cutter crap, like I always hated that monopoly or like capitalization. So to see that all of this stuff is, like you said, kind of like, you're voting with your dollar, you're voting with your crypto, you're voting with all of these actions. That is just so inspiring. I often get doomsday, about like our last podcast episode about
Yeah.
the way the world is going, but then I hear and then I hear crypto and NFT and I'm like, man, a little bit of faith is in humanity with this,
Right, just enough. We might not be completely messing it up.
Yeah, we
Not
probably
yet.
are, but
So when we were messaging kind of previous to this, Lou, you had mentioned that you were planning on doing a little bit of rebranding coming up. Did you want to talk to us about that at all?
Yeah, so I'm kind of I was kind of mixing both things. So I had the skins on my Instagram and also like a lot of this crypto and NFT stuff that I've been doing. So I kind of decided today actually that I want to kind of separate the two. So the skins I want to have its own brand and just focus on gaming and Metaverse and the actual skins themselves. So I'm gonna be calling it that Skinny. So when you actually see the logo, it's actually Skin NY since I'm from like the New York area.
Sure.
So it's gonna be Skinny by Lucid. And then my design and my whole branding business and crypto stuff, then I'm gonna make that Lucid that ETH because that's what my new domain's gonna be in the blockchain.
nice. Love it.
Just kind of clear up some of that branding. That makes a lot of sense. That's something that we've dealt with here a lot at the Scuttlebutt. That's why we have our VR show on YouTube here, is because we're like, this is a great platform for video stuff, but it's kind of slightly different than what you find on our audio stuff. This is more short form. It's a lot more animated, literally in some cases. And so that's, we completely get where you're coming from there. And I think you can't really argue that would be a good move, especially since it still ties back to Loucid as an artist.
Yeah, and the logo that I'm using is just a slight variation from my current logo, so people will still see the tie between the two different companies, but I kind of want to just keep things a little separated.
This is fucking
and
Bezo
make it a
over
little
here
more
with
clean.
Yeah.
the NFT of the Web3 over here. He's just like, I'm doing everything all at once. I'm starting all of this foundation. Just you wait. There's gonna be drones coming your way in no time. Lucid.
We
drones.
say it all the time. This is the ground floor.
Yeah, no, I'm excited because it's very early on like this whole like crypto and NFT space, and there's a lot of people that are talking negative about it, but like once you see like how it works and once you understand like everything behind it, you can see that like nobody can cancel this. Like there's no company that can just buy.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like it can't really be stopped. So everybody that wants it to like fail and like all that stuff, I think it's gonna be really hard for something like this to be able to shut it down.
They're just gonna be left behind, honestly, right? Like, I mean, there's so much to learn, and so, which is exciting and sometimes intimidating. But like you said, once you start to kind of get it and start to get the flow of it, like when the utility aspect is what really sold me. Is like all of the possibilities. Whether it comes to, I think the wife and I talked about, implementing blockchain or blockchain technology for like the voting system, right? Because of how the technology works. That just makes sense to me. When it comes to verification with artwork, that just makes sense to me. There's obviously not, it's not surprising that that's one of the first communities that adopted and a blockchain and NFT technologies is artists. But like all creators out there who are kind of getting snubbed, or like this whole copyright and trademark crap that you have to go through, like you can kind of skip all of that with utility crypto. And again, I don't know everything about it, but as you start like you said, start to learn, it starts to click a little bit more and more, and you see more and more possibilities, and then it kind of lights that fire. And for me anyways, and you keep going down that rabbit hole, and it's like you said, it's like you can't really stop that. Once you get that bug, you realize like, yeah, it's a train. It's going. We're picking up speed, and I like that a lot.
Awesome, guys. That's really kind of most of what I wanted to talk about today. Lou, if you've got any other like plugs, or if you want to direct our viewers to where they can find you, obviously I'll have all the links and everything in the description as well. But if you've got any final shouts, this is going to be the time.
Yeah, so I'm still working on my website, and like I said, this whole rebranding thing kind of just came to my head today. So I will be launching that soon, and it's gonna be skinny.loucid.com. And Loucid is spelled Loucid. And yeah, I'm working on a lot of different things right now. So I have the Xbox skins that are gonna be dropping soon. I have some like vaporizers that I have like skins for, and
I saw the Bender one for the I think it's the PAX.
Yeah,
that was awesome. I love that. I'm a huge Futurama fan. Hermes knows, and that's I almost wanted to get a PAX just so I had a reason to use that skin.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. I have a lot of things going on, so yeah, just I'll keep you guys posted if I have any other big.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot going on. Thank you for taking the time to join us. I mean, it's we've been planning it for a while, but yeah, with that much going on, it must have been difficult to carve out the time. So we really appreciate it.
Thank you. And this is so fun. I actually wanted to check out VRchat, and I've always said that doing like a podcast or something in this kind of scenario like will be really cool, and I'm really glad you guys are doing it. Like it's definitely like a really interesting content.
Hey, thank you.
Isn't it weird how the first time we did the podcast, it was just a bunch of flat screens, and it was always a good time, like, but as Theron said, it's so different, and then like we're basically sitting on the same couch here. Like,
people really underestimate the presence.
It's trippy.
Yeah, it's definitely cool, and I love the studio, and
yeah, man. Once we're done here, I'll give you a little tour, and we can go.
Okay.
We'll world hop a little bit and kind of show you what VR is about outside of just shooting podcasts, because this is definitely the most boring version of VRchat, as I think anyone who's played can attest.
Yeah. Like Theron said, just to echo. Yeah, thanks, man. We always say there's not enough hours in the day, so we always appreciate it. Like, it's, I'm always jumping from Uncle Sam to, the digital space and, the creative space. And I always say, like, there's just not enough hours, but I always appreciate it when somebody else who's doing fucking Bezos level shit over here carves out an hour, so appreciate it. Don't sell yourself short.
So, yeah, that was our show today, everybody. Thank you so much for watching the Scuttlebutt VR. And, of course, if you can like the video and subscribe, you do have a chance to become my favorite person ever. Goodbye.